Hi, I'm Olivia, an engagement manager at ECA Partners aligned with our strategy practice. ECA Partners is an executive search firm that works a lot with middle market private equity to fill value creation roles. We've just published a compensation study focused on current management consultants. We are framing this as a state of the market. While we analyze a lot of compensation data, this study is also concerned with current market conditions. Our rationale here is that it's not particularly hard to find out what McKinsey, Bain, and BCG consultants are currently making, but from the 1,000 or so extensive interviews that we've conducted over the past couple of years, we have a fantastic insight into these questions highlighted on this slide. How has the market for management consultants changed during the last 2 years due to COVID? What sort of salaries are management consultants willing to leave for, and how often are they willing to take a pay cut? And what does it take to make a management consultant interested in joining a company? What factors are important to them when they are considering making a move? For this study, we focus on current consultants at these top firms: McKinsey, Bain, BCG, LEK, Carney, Oliver Wyman, Strategy and slash PwC, Monitor slash Deloitte, Accenture, and KPMG. The major takeaway from our study is that now is a fantastic time to hire a management consultant, and here are some of our key findings. We found that 59% of current consultants are willing to take a pay cut for the right role. Interest rates in roles that focus on management consultants have never been higher, and a significantly majority of consultants, nearly three-quarters, are willing to relocate for the right role. Finally, consultants are incentivized to move by ownership over results, exposure to operations, cultural fit, and the prospect of making a real impact. Something we really wanted to stress in this study is that management consulting is not the same industry it was before COVID. Prior to the pandemic, consultants would generally be on site with their clients 4 to 5 days a week. The pandemic initially led to a massive increase in demand for consultants. Businesses were bringing them in to help shift their services online, to give but one example. At the same time, a lot of junior level consultants who had enjoyed the travel and the FaceTime with their seniors started to leave as the long hours kind of no longer really seemed worth it when they weren't getting that FaceTime. In response, a lot of the top management consulting firms raised their salaries significantly to try and stem this attrition. This worked, and come the end of the pandemic, overall headcount was up, so are salaries. This caused some problems come early 2023. With economic headwinds, less companies were bringing in consultants, and some layoffs started at some of the companies. At other companies, there's not enough work to go around, and a lot of consultants are kind of stuck on the bench waiting for a project. Come the present moment, a lot of consulting firms are actually doing things to encourage these employees to leave, stretching out promotion cycles, for example. Basically, right now, there are a lot of management consultants who are looking to leave the industry. Our study looked at 4 levels of management consultants from pre-MBA, what McKinsey calls analysts, through to the principal level. What we have on this slide are current base compensations, self-disclosed by candidates to us in interviews. I'm not going to read them all out, so I recommend you pause this video if you want to explore these further. What we found from close analysis of our past 2 years of interviews is that at almost all levels, management consultants are open to take a lower base than what they're currently making for the right opportunity. So in this graph, dark blue is the current base, mid blue is the base they tell us they're looking for, and light blue is what they're seeking for all-in compensation. Here's a little bit more color. Just under a quarter of management consultants are looking to keep their pay the same or see a bump as they move into industry. But most of really smart folks, they know that a lot of other industries were not able to keep pace with the pay raises that consultants saw through COVID. And for the most part, consultants are interested in moving into a role where they can own long-term results rather than just make a recommendation and hand the project off. A lot of them are also looking for hands-on operations experience. On this slide, we quantify interest rate in consultant level searches. This is the McKinsey Associate over the last couple of years. So the spike in interest rates from April 2023 not only reflects straight out layoffs, but the fact that these high-flying go-getters are frustrated at not being given enough work to do. This spike in interest rate is illustrated really nicely in the case study on this slide. Basically, every year, ECA runs a chief of staff search for the same client. It's a 1-year rotational position. The location and the compensation package has remained the same, and the profile that they're after is a top-tier management consultant. As you can see, the percentage of respondents interested in the role this year was 87% versus 54% for this time last year and 65% 2 years ago. We wrap up our compensation study with a list of select placements. Again, I'm not going to read out everything on this slide, so if you're interested here, now is a great time to pause. If you'd like to engage ECA to run a search or have any questions about anything in this study, please feel free to reach out either to myself, that's me at the bottom, or Jason Blonstein, who heads our strategy practice.